James, at the first glance, this new car looks quite radical departure from last year's SF15T. Would you talk us through the basic concept, which is lies behind what so far has been known as Project 667?
Sure, well, it is certainly a very bold car, but then it needs to be. It needs to be. If we look to last year's car, the project we did for 2015, we were working to improve a baseline that was really quite poor. So you could make big steps. You could make big steps last year, being relatively conservative with what you were doing. However, to improve a car that was already quite reasonable, last year's car, to make something this year, which was also a big step forward, you need to take some bolder steps. You need to be able to be braver and to work across the entire car in an aggressive way. And that's something that we've done both on the chassis side and also on the power unit for this year's car.
So in a way, it would be fair to say that this car has been breaking new ground in the field of designing.
I guess in one way it's fair to say that, but it's fair to say in every year our cars are breaking new ground. We do a new design because we think we can make a new one that is faster and better than the old one. So in a sense, they're all breaking new ground. But in truth, all engineering products are a mixture of brand new innovation, some iterative improvement, and some holding on to tried and true, well-proven concepts. What varies from year to year is the proportion of the novelty, the proportion of the new stuff. And on this year's car, we have a very high proportion of new, bold approaches, and that's necessary for us to make the sort of step forward that we need to make.
And then, as with every new car, no one can be sure how he actually will perform until it's actually properly driven on track. But can we reassure our fans that everything has been thought of and put in place to try and close the gap to our main competitors?
Well, no one can give any guarantees of that. You can never know the things you haven't thought of. But what I can be absolutely certain of is that the entire project team on this car has given its absolute best to try to make sure that every possible way that we can put a competitive car on the ground for the first race, we have followed. And only time will tell whether our efforts will bear that fruit, but I dearly hope so.
And about yourself, last year we saw you work in both in the role of technical director and on the pit wall on the Grand Prix scene. Are you planning something different for 2016?
Yes, indeed. Last year was a very tough year for me, trying to do effectively two jobs at once. But this year, with the arrival of Jock Clear to take on the position of head of the track side, I can return to the more conventional role of being technical director, which is largely a factory-based job. And so although I will be at the track this year for a number of races, my main focus will be back at the factory, and that's a much happier set of affairs for me.
So this year's regulation, the sporting regulation, sees the introduction of a new tire compound, which is called the Ultra Soft, and also the way the tire is managed by every team will be slightly different. Can you please talk us through that, discuss how it could affect the strategy for every team?
I could do, but the rules for the tires this year are really very complicated. They're quite intricate. And it would probably be easier to explain the rules of cricket than it would be to explain all of the detail of how we choose the tyres under the 2016 rules. Probably easiest to summarise by saying that the 2016 rules allow us, the teams, for the first time, choice in which compounds we bring to which races, whereas previously they were chosen for us. The outcome of this choice should mean things that are good for the watching fans, should mean that we have more variety of strategy in the races from team to team, should mean more pit stops than previously, and it should also mean more option tyre running or qualifying tyre running during the qualifying, so more interesting things happening in qualifying.